Ow. Owie.
My little panties.
My little hands.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Arthritis Podcast, official podcast of digital and creative media works. Where each week we take something from pop culture and break it down to try to better understand it. My name is David.
Hi, I'm Ben.
At some point, I'm really excited for the day when you forget that you have to do anything at all. And we sit there for like 2 seconds or like 10 seconds and you're like staring at me and I'm like, dude, what? And you're like, how to... I've forgotten how to podcast.
I don't know what the intro is.
We've done this for 2 years and I forgot how to do podcasts.
Very unfortunate.
That's a real fear I have. One day I'm going to wake up and like not know how to talk properly anymore.
That's like my whole life, actually. When I'm talking to someone who I'm not super comfortable with, like how, not like a fuck. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, like
when I'm talking to someone I'm not super comfortable with, I'm just like...
I'm uncomfortable.
I get quiet and like some words just don't actually come out of my mouth.
Oh, you miss a few.
I'm just like...
That's fair.
Like my voice just doesn't engage. It's horrible.
It could be worse. You could be like someone written with terrible dialogue.
Speaking of which...
Yeah, speaking of terrible dialogue, we, this week, so to end our fight month, it's been a wild ride.
End? Well, like, this is the third one.
No, this is the last one. It's 25th, dog.
Oh, okay, well...
Do you not know what week it is?
Yeah, but
no, we've got one left.
We've only done 3.
Sorry, we've got 2. No, we've done... This is our 4th.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Was it?
I don't know. We did Atomic Blonde.
And then Pirates.
Oh, maybe.
And
yeah, okay, because we had a week off at the start of the year.
Yeah, this is only number 3.
Yeah, but that being said...
David! So confirm it, is this the last fight?
No, we got the second of... Yes, it is, because it's the second. It is the last. Wow, I'm having so much trouble today. This is the last fight scene episode. Okay. I thought
I'm glad we sorted that out.
Jesus Christ.
Before the episode started,
Yeah,
David.
I'm glad that we had that conversation off camera.
Yeah.
And I thought to finish off the month, why not choose one of the worst fight scenes of all time to talk about? Because I think it needs talking about.
Oh, no. I made the suggestion like a few weeks ago. It's just like, we should do Duel of Fates, but then you reminded me, we've already done Duel of Fates.
We already did Duel of Fates.
And then you're like, and then I'm snap back, why didn't we do the bad one?
I put my head down and thought, and then I was like, I'm gonna get him. And I'm like, why don't we do the shitty one?
Let's do the bad one.
So we're doing the Anakin v Obi-Wan fight scene in the Mustafar fight in Revenge of the Sith.
It's so... So episode 1 starts really badly, but has a really good ending.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Duel of Fates I love Duel of Fates.
Except it's intercut with Anakin pod racing in space.
We ignore that.
We don't talk about that.
But this film, episode 3, starts really cool, like really good, and then ends just...
Oh boy.
Ends just horrendously.
If you don't remember, gang... Sorry.
In which case, I'm very sorry that we're going to have to remind you about the ending of episode 3.
We're going to drag your brain through the muck that is the Star Wars franchise. Guys, half of it's bad.
Ooh, which half? Ooh.
It's
the
easy.
First half.
All 4 prequels are pretty bad.
Oh yeah, Rogue One is
Rogue One's a prequel.
Yeah.
Hashtag Rogue One's a prequel. No, so something that I am intrigued by is it's one of those fight scenes that I think like 14-year-old me thought was really cool because it was like a lava planet with lightsabers. I remember being like vaguely like that was like a thing in my memory that I thought was good.
Yeah, when I saw the film, which I think I saw it in cinemas. Fuck, it was ages ago. I vaguely... Yeah, no, I saw it in cinemas.
Yeah,
I vaguely sort of remember being like, oh, it was cool. I mean, I thought the Yoda fight was dumb, even as a kid.
The Yoda fight is so bad. It's like, it is just 2 CGI things.
You can't actually analyze the Yoda fight.
Okay,
like,
it's impossible.
It's just that bad. Like, there's nothing. There's no...
I couldn't tell you what happened.
No, I don't actually remember.
It makes my brain... It's just... The Sith, Darth Sidious cackling a lot, and Yoda making like noises of concentration.
Like at least the Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
It's got 3 discrete segments that I remember every time.
It has substance. It's just like a pile of Play-Doh.
Let me say all the good things, and then we can talk about why, like what they could have done to improve it.
It's like just fun to use, but really disgusting to eat.
Play-Doh.
Yeah,
that's actually a really good analogy. So it's got 3.
It's like a pile of Play-Doh.
It's like a pile of slightly off Play-Doh. In some bits, it's kind of hard, but you're not really sure why.
And, in the sun for a bit. Oh, man.
So the fight scene has 3 basic acts. It's got the initial like saber fight where it's kind of bare knuckled.
Yeah.
Then it's got the tipping towers, balancing pipes sections where it's like them doing crazy stunts, and then the final sequence, which is like the floating platforms over
it just
the lava.
like it gets worse.
It doesn't get better. That's for dang
no,
sure.
it's not like it starts off kind of average, has a weak middle, but then it ends strongly.
Well, there's a
It's
tipping
like, no,
point.
it ends bad.
There's a single tipping point where if you cut the fight scene off before, you'd be like, that was amazing, which is where it's just before they cut away from it the first time, and they're like fighting, and Anakin is like bearing down on Obi-Wan, like he's going for him, and you're like, oh shit, he might like cut this dude's like arm off or something.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. And then Anakin kicks Obi-Wan in the chest, and Obi-Wan does a backflip, and then it cuts away to the Yoda v Darth Sidious fight. And I couldn't have thought of a more apt analogy or like microcosm of the problem with the Revenge of the Sith
like,
than
see ya!
that.
Woo!
Him doing a flip and then cutting to a whole different thing that you don't care about.
So I didn't watch this film again because
Mhm.
I'm not. Fuck that. I'm not rewatching this film for this episode. So I just watched the fight scene.
Oh boy.
And so what I watched was just just like all of the intercuts were just kind of like transplanted back to back.
Boy.
Which made it very confusing to watch.
Oh,
but
like as in you watch the whole thing in a row.
whole thing in a row.
Oh, what was that like?
All 9 minutes of it back to back.
Wow.
Without any of the
That's
intercutting.
really long.
What
What was it like?
it's boring.
Yeah?
Like it's very boring.
Maybe that's why they cut away. Well, because nothing happens.
You know, it's the kind of thing like the cutaways probably make it more interesting.
Lightsaber fights are dumb because no one really gets hurt.
It's literally like the same. So you were talking about like the 3 distinct acts. It's just the same thing 3 times.
It's just that they cut away 3 times.
It's just that they cut away 3 times.
Fuck, dude. No,
Yeah.
I was trying to give it credit. I was like, they structured it. But
Like the 3 parts are they're different settings, sure.
Boy.
Like they occur in different places.
But it's the same fight.
But it's the same thing.
That's what bothers me, right? I was so ready to give this film so much credit.
I mean, the main difference is that the middle segment has 0 dialogue. There is no talking during that middle bit where they're kind of just like running around on the pillars,
which is kind of a relief when you think about the dialogue that.
Oh yeah, like don't get me wrong, like you don't like the dialogue comes and you're like, oh, dialogue, and then you're like,
and
never
you go,
mind,
I made an error. Oopsie.
Yeah, it's like actually, shut up, Anakin, please.
But what's so fascinating to me is like George Lucas knows how to do a fight scene well. Like Duel of Fates is buck wild.
I mean,
but he took the wrong lesson from it, right? So like I think one of the fundamental problems with a lot of filmmaking, and we talked about this when we talked about like Deadpool and Logan, like filmmakers in like Hollywood people have this habit of...
this is the 4th episode. We did Logan.
Oh yeah, it is the 4th.
Welcome to the last episode of the...
I'm glad that we talked about this off camera before we started recording the episode. Yeah, when we talk about those films, one of our biggest worries is that a lot of directors and Hollywood people will be like, oh, those films were successful because they were R-rated. And then a lot of things would just be R-rated for no reason instead of like missing the point of what made that thing good.
Yeah.
And I worry that this film is like a perfect microcosm of what happens when the person in charge totally doesn't understand why the first thing they made worked.
He's like, flips are cool.
Yeah. It's
He's like I like it when they force jump.
It's like the 4th Harry Potter book when she's like, and everyone is crazy and there's crazy wizard death trials. And you're like, no, that wasn't why the books were good.
You're like, why?
What are you doing, JK? And then like
good film, but like
yeah, but it's that transition where you go,
no, average film.
Yeah, the film's fine. But like you go, what like I thought we were doing this thing, and then suddenly you think this is what made it good. So clearly just like shows that the person making it or the people behind like the driving forces behind it didn't get it.
Yeah, like in
it's kind of the Ghost of the Shell problem.
Like in Duel of Fates. And man, we're gonna reference Duel of Fates a lot. The crazy flippy shit is like it's adjacent to just the actual sort of like weird almost character development, despite the fact that
there's no dialogue.
Well, despite the fact that the characters who get the most development both die at the end of the scene.
It's pretty smart.
Like Darth Vader, not
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul and Qui-Gon easily get like the most like interesting.
Yeah, especially
like,
Qui-Gon.
Especially Qui-Gon.
Liam Neeson is such a good fucking character.
Man, fuck me.
I've been rewatching all of these films for a project I've been working on. And it might kill me, this project.
Is that Men in Robes Part 3?
No, it's not.
No.
And even if it was, I wouldn't tell you, but it's super not. No, and
I'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, when it comes out, you'll be like, oh, it wasn't that interesting. Oopsie. But the funny thing about rewatching all these films is just how much of a standout Liam Neeson is in this. Like, he plays a perfect
in the
space
one
samurai.
film.
Yeah, he's the best part of the series, I think.
Yeah.
Like, him and Ewan McGregor do so much work in these films. And then you look at this film, which should have been like Ewan McGregor's big send-off as Obi-Wan.
I mean,
What I wanted was like, instead of this crazy flip nonsense, what you should have had is Anakin being like this aggressive, like, start it the way that you do, right? Where Anakin is just bearing down on him. But do kind of like a Muhammad Ali style thing where, you know, Anakin's just going and going and going, and, you know, Obi-Wan's just kind of defending and kind of tiring him down. Anakin starts to slow down, then Obi-Wan can sort of pick his moment, and then Anakin can use his new dark side force powers to kind of turn the tides again and sort of create like a dynamic.
like, yeah, you can, because it's, I think the part of this fight scene that for me like sums up the whole fight is there's a shot where it's so dumb. There's a shot where it's during the pillar segment where it's a super wide shot and it's showing like the pillar flying down the or like sort of flowing down the lava river. And you see the two lightsabers and they're just kind of, there's these two little blue lines and they're just kind of like flailing around and like occasionally flashing. And I'm like, that's this fight scene. It's two blue lines just going at it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so egregious. You didn't need to do that. You could have just been like, hey guys, you know what?
I think that the lightsaber colors especially are so important in this like fight scene, because they should have, like, I don't know, they should have given Anakin or Obi-Wan just a different lightsaber.
Anakin, and there's an easy fix, right? When Anakin comes into the room with Mace Windu, you have them clash, Anakin's lightsaber goes out the window, and Anakin takes Mace Windu's. Easy. And you still get your Excalibur.
Maybe not Windu's, but maybe he gets given his lightsaber that he gets in episode 4 early. Like,
yeah,
maybe he gets his red lightsaber early, because it's like, it's such a weird...
But then you couldn't do it on a lava planet, because you would not be able to see it.
Don't put it on a lava planet.
Just
Problem solved.
Put it. One of my notes was like,
fuck off.
Was one of the fight's biggest like flaws, to the point where it makes you like remember that George Lucas just was told yes for everything. The biggest problem with this fight is that the setting has nothing to do with the fight. Like,
yeah, no, it's like, yeah, it's just...
He just went to kill the
It's
Separatists.
just adjacent.
What should have happened, like, if we're being fucking real with ourselves, is that Padme and Padme should have been at home. Obi-Wan comes to see her. Then Anakin rocks up after killing all the younglings and the fucking Separatists.
do it in the...
He rocks up to their home. He rocks up to their the place where he lives,
and then they could like
and then they
smash
could
out some
destroy
windows.
furniture, and it could be like a cool,
Then
like,
they
Dead
could
or
like
Alive.
smash out some windows and be like replace the droids with the cars.
Like, why not show us these characters in their natural environment and show Anakin, like, because like he destroys everything in his life.
Yeah.
Why not do the final thing, which is destroy his home and his wife? Like, that would have been such a good like meaningful ending. Like, he's not just destroyed their home, but also everything he cared about. What a nice metaphor, instead of a fucking lava planet with giant pillars, because George Lucas was like, we've got a CGI budget, what if there was fucking lava everywhere? Are you kidding me?
My favorite thing is that the shot where they're like running up the pillar and it starts like falling over and they like fall down. That's practical.
Why?
Because
why?
They built it's in the, because I've
Yeah,
seen
but
I've seen the
why?
DVD extras. They built a giant rotating green screen wheel that they actually had the actors run up like on cables. But like that, like rotating and then like scrambling up it, like that's practical. They were like, lava planet, sure, but we're gonna make this one thing practical.
So dumb. It doesn't add anything to make that practical either. Like what is that?
It's like the one shot,
and
of
then
that
off the
entire
back of it,
segment
Anakin does a space jump. Like, it's just like here's the thing. I can see what Lucas was going for, right? It's the end of this saga where Anakin goes from like, you know, this power hungry Jedi to being like the evil Sith
I think they
Lord.
just needed a reason. Well, no. Like, they needed a reason for for Darth Vader to be like gross and bald and all burnt up. Like,
You
he is
don't
in the
got
end
it.
of episode
It's
6.
hey, what about
Car
there's-
explosion.
There's fire.
House explosion.
Lightsaber.
Any explosion.
What about a lightsaber? Doesn't even be explained. We have literally laser weapons in this world that are blades. What if he just gets chopped the fuck up?
I do find his
kidding me?
spontaneous combustion to be quite entertaining.
It's just like
Because it's like, if he spontaneously combusts then and there, why not
every time.
Literally the entire scene. Why aren't they just like constantly padding out their apparently like cotton pants that just if you're close to lava it catches on
Well,
fire.
he wears leather, so.
And it just catches.
Well, I think his stumps are in the lava.
No,
No.
they're close to the lava.
No, okay.
And for the whole scene, they're all very close to the lava, especially the last bit.
That's dumb.
You know.
It's like,
Let's talk about the more. Let's
well,
talk about the more intricate shit.
yeah. What I want to focus on is like the stuff that they did in this that worked, and then how we might improve it, right?
Yeah,
Because
okay.
I think there's some easy wins here that they just super didn't do. So one of the things they try and set up initially is that Anakin has this kind of much more fluid, like, you know, he hand and a halves his lightsaber a lot, where he'll sort of switch between the two grips, whereas Obi-Wan is always using it as a two-handed
He's
weapon.
generally always
It's sort of more of a kendo. I'm making shit up, but it's more of a kendo stance than like a.
yeah.
Is that right?
No, it's somewhat valid. Yeah,
Like
I mean,
like he sort of
ignoring-
does. He chops. In my
ignoring
he
the
chops.
twirls.
He chops wood, much like Finn does in the Force Awakens.
They
When he has a
there
saber,
are,
they
there
just
are-
chop shit.
Yeah, they both have a bit of like thrusty stuff going on, but it's not like it's not like Ray.
It's not like Ray, who uses
Ray.
it like a
Ray,
stick, a
she
spear.
uses it like it's like it's
Yeah.
a spear. Well,
Yeah.
her stuff essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like that's something they should have definitely doubled down on. Why wouldn't you make the whole fight like, you know, as the fight goes on, we start to understand that between them as they fight in like an interesting setting, that the way that they use their blades deeply impacts the way that they have to fight and the way they think and the way they feel. Like Anakin's is getting more and more aggressive, and maybe he starts to take bigger risks, and that's how he starts to destroy.
The year is
surroundings.
2005, and film choreography still sucks.
But it doesn't. There's good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff. Jackie Chan's making the best shit ever. And fucking George Lucas was like, no. But, like, do you see what I mean? Like, they have concepts in there, but they just don't do anything with them. Like, for instance, if you want to do, for some reason, the balancing pipes sequence where they kind of tiptoe across a pipe, which is not
Yeah.
very interesting or fun.
They do it better in Pirates.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you
Yeah.
want to do that, do a Pirates of the Caribbean
It's
thing.
better in Pirates,
Where it's
yeah.
like a moving object, or it's like
Yeah.
you're on top of a ship and the ship is moving. And
Well,
it's-
literally in the Pirates fight scene that we talked about last week, they literally do the balancing beam.
Yeah, and they
fight
move, and
better.
it's interesting because you
Because-
understand
well,
what's
like,
happening.
Why would Jedi's not like how this pissed me off? But like during that whole like balancing segment, Obi-Wan and Anakin are like, "Whoa, it's real tippy and
They
off
should just
balance."
be perfectly
It's like you
balanced.
should just be perfectly poised.
You
Like,
guys
you're
are-
you're a Jedi.
You're literally monks. Like
you're
the-
like you can't you just like force your own body to just stay up.
you guys have superpowers,
Like-
and you can't balance.
I mean, this is like super nitpicky world lore shit, but it's like there's so much in this fight scene that's just like it needed to have more respect for what the fight was, because like this moment, like this film could have been if this fight scene was like good, like Duel of Fates level good, so not like amazing, but like had character. Like people might have been like, you know, the prequels suck, but like Anakin Obi-Wan, like that's like that should have been part of episode 4.
it's
Like,
three films worth of like brewing conflict.
and it's
why
and it
why
just,
wouldn't it work?
And it just comes out in this just like wet noodle of a 9-minute long, just like all it is 9 minutes of lightsaber noises and like blue on red contrast. And it's just so like irritating, like watching it
Well,
and
it's
being
frustrating because they could have done like yeah.
and you're like why aren't like this is just they're just splashing blades against each other. It's like there needs to be more like dialogue. But
Well,
then they
te-
talk and it's horrible.
and you want to die. But the thing is, they teeter into being interesting a few times. Like my favorite parts of this scene, like this fight, is when, you know, there's at one point where Anakin just like physically starts choking Obi-Wan, and it's like, oh shit. Like
There's a bit where they get
just
really
start
close and they
fisticuffing.
just start punching. Yeah,
Like-
it's like 1 second, but it's like the
but
best
the
1 second.
whole
of the
fight
entire
scene,
fight.
the whole fight scene should have been, and this is how like these two characters should fight. They know that like their blade skills are pretty evenly matched, right? Anakin's like he's like the apprentice. But he's got these powers, and he's
Yeah.
always been ahead of the curve. Obi-Wan is like control. He's practiced. He's disciplined. He's on top of it.
Yeah, but you don't see any of this.
But that's what I'm saying. Like what they should have done, in that when you introduce that physicality, is then they should both be focused on disarming the other person with their physicality, because that's how you win. Is by getting the saber away, Like, but for some reason, instead, it's just they have this brief exchange, and then neither person focuses on the sabers again. It's just
Yeah.
let's run about.
And even-
like, could you imagine in that room, like when Anakin chokes him out, and, Obi-Wan kicks him off, and then Anakin goes to force grab his lightsaber, and Obi-Wan throws it like out the window, and then like he punches him, like, and it's just like this bare-knuckled brawl as they both try to grab their sabers, but they can't quite get it, and there's like character building because Anakin's like punching for like the face and the balls, and then Obi-Wan's going for like
biting.
Obi-Wan's going for like body shots. Like there would have been such like easy development there that would have given it like tactile substance. They could have like Anakin could be like screeching at him in fury as he tries to attack, and Obi-Wan is like calmly like, why didn't you do that?
The thing, like the like I feel like why so many people are like put off by like even the dialogue in the scene is that it's so like it's like out of nowhere. Like you see the whole fight scene, and again, it's just two blue sticks going at it.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it, like suddenly Anakin has red eyes, and he's a very screechy boy. And you're like, where? Like, I get it, he's got his legs cut off, but it's like
It just seems unnecessary.
where's the build? Like that's why everyone memes on the "I hate you" line because it's so just
doesn't-
like he just screeches at you. You're just like, oh, Anakin. Chill out, buddy.
Even something like this is what the Jedi made us would have been a better line. Like anything.
Well, yeah, because like even the payoff for this scene is like Anakin without his legs, and then Obi-Wan just kind of yelling some dumb shit, and then just kind of walking off, and it's like.
Well, they hit the two things they needed. They needed him to be burnt the fuck up, and they needed Obi-Wan to take his lightsaber. Those were the two things they needed.
Yeah, and they do them in like the most just late. They just do it. It's just like Anakin gets burnt up and
It's
Obi-Wan
dumb.
takes his lightsaber. Like there's
Doesn't-
no rhyme or reason.
But again, like this is what I'm saying. If they focused on like the fact that these two characters are like evenly matched, which they were, and that's why it was boring. But they actually focus on the thing that makes a difference, which is the saber. Then when he takes the saber at the end, it's like the ultimate insult.
Well, I feel like if you like this scene had checklists in the end of it where it's like saber, burnt.
I guess hatred. Maybe.
Yeah, well,
For-
whatever.
Even though
it
like
doesn't really matter.
even though
'cause,
in A
like,
New Hope he doesn't really hate.
like again,
he's
like,
just like-
it's not necessary.
You
But
don't
it,
need it.
yeah, there's those two setups. But it's like I feel like the checklist that was given by George Lucas was like
It was expected
Saber.
and stuff.
saber,
Yep.
burnt, and then in big fucking like 140 point all caps Comic Sans lightsaber duel.
Fight with the swords.
Just do Duel of
Make
Fates,
it- make
but
it-
times 10. And
Do it, but put
literally 10
lava.
times as long.
Do lava, please.
But on the lava planet.
But then, like, what I don't get is like, why the contrivance? You don't like. I get that you want it to be a spectacle, but the contrivance that makes Duel of Fates interesting initially is the verticality. You go, well, that's the space they're in. Like, it doesn't
Well,
explain
even, like,
itself.
Duel of Fates, just as a Duel of Fates for me is really cool because it's visually it's really interesting because you're actually able to follow it because of the lightsaber colors. Because you have red, blue, and green.
Which is presumably why they did that.
Well,
Because it makes it easy to see.
yeah, like
Like-
whether it was on purpose or not, whether they were just following.
Well, they do it in the
lore,
next film as well, when Anakin picks up a green lightsaber at the end instead of a blue one to fight Count Dooku, so that you can see who's who.
Yeah, and like one of the best images from episode 6 is like the shot where it's like the very dark but like blue tinted room, and you have Darth Vader with the red, and you have Luke with the green,
It's very
and like
good.
that shot is pristine, and it wouldn't be as like I can tell you like it would not be as good if it was a blue lightsaber.
Yeah, well, because in the previous one in the fifth film they have him with the blue, but they put it against this kind of like smoky red palette in the above the cryo chamber.
Yeah,
And it works really well. Like, you just have to know, like, what you're working with. And I think the biggest problem with this film is they started with Lava Planet, and they went, what contrasts with that? And the answer is blue. So they gave them both blue swords.
Well, even just the opposite, you could just be like, well, they've both got blue swords. Where do we go? Lava planet. Oh, that works out because that ticks the box for getting burnt.
Don't give them both blue swords! You get to decide! You wrote the script!
It's blue and green.
These
Why not
aren't...
blue and green.
These aren't problems that someone didn't point out. If someone in your fucking filmmaking isn't like, hey, Georgie boy, like, listen...
Well, That was the thing.
I guess they
In
couldn't,
the
but like,
prequels,
fuck
that
me.
wasn't happening.
It's just I'm getting mad again. But like, it's just the reason that I like get so angry about this fight scene in particular is that it could have been like one of those things that is like when people talk about cinema, it's like the GOAT thing. Like it's like the greatest of all. Like it could have been that. It could have been like that thing when people are like, oh my fucking god, do you guys remember that? It's like Firefly. People are like, oh my god, it's incredible. Like, do you guys remember that like Obi-Wan Anakin fight? That was fucking crazy cool, and like it was really good. Payoff was awesome. Instead, it's just like,
man, episode 3
just
sucked
like
my
man,
dick.
it was bad.
Yeah,
and
it's just like
how do you fuck that up? Like, it's not. It's a sword fight. There's a lot of them that are good that have been made, and you have two characters that have had relatively good character progression for a Star Wars film at that time in the prequels.
well, if you look at sword fights in film that are between, so the key is between two main characters. Like this is very much a scene of like it has to show consequence for the fallen hero being Anakin.
Especially because we know neither of them die.
Yeah, but it can't just be a fallen hero at the expense of his opponent. It has to like because both the characters are important. So like
Right.
we have it's juggling both this fallen hero and this like mentor who we know goes on and becomes old and wise. Like it is juggling a lot, but it's
Yeah.
like it's not impossible.
It's you just take the time to work it out. Like you go, what would best serve
Especially given
the characters?
like episode 3 you think you would like write it down and then scrap it and write it
there's
down
2
again.
hours of people in rooms talking, and then there's 10 minutes at the start and 10 minutes at the end that are like exciting. Like just spend the time that you took to work out the stuff in the middle on the thing that at the end, which is
Literally
actually
the
important.
this entire film could have just been because I mean episode 2 as bad as it was, it ended in a place that could have just set up the fight. Like there didn't really need to be too much in episode 3 because
It could have just been progressive complication of
they
that
could have
conflict.
just gotten rid of fucking Robot Boy.
Yeah.
Like,
And,
you
like-
could just not have him and instead fill it with fill it with politics.
Well, because the thing about the prequels is that the politics isn't the problem. The politics is like actually interesting.
it
it's
has
just-
its, I think it like I
like it's my favorite part about
me
them.
in the prequels. I stand by my opinion of the prequels being an interesting point of the story because that's when the Jedi are at their highest, and so at their strongest. So at their strongest, they would most likely just be dealing with politics. It's the kind of thing where if you think of like a business, when you're starting like a business, you're the front person. Like
Mhm.
you're the nitty gritty. You're doing everything. You might have like a few employees, but like it's your business.
Yeah.
But when businesses get big, the person who quote unquote owns the business doesn't do fucking anything. It's all politics.
They just sign papers and
and
take
that's
meetings,
what the prequels are for Jedi.
which is why they
It's
failed.
where they're at this biggest point where all they do is sit around and have councils. The original trilogy, like it's kind of like a weird like inverse where like the original trilogy is almost like the small business Jedi,
Yeah, it definitely
but
is.
they're like that's the nitty gritty. The new like the 7, 8, and 9 I think is really interesting because they're kind of doing like a weird half where it's just like they're kind of rebuilding. It's almost doing the bit before, like, you know,
before the Jedi Council.
Yeah, like before the Jedi Council. yeah.
Which is interesting to me because I think that when you take all these concepts and then people say, oh, the politics, you know, the prequels are bad because of the politics, I think it misses the problem with, like, the fundamental issue with the prequel films isn't the politics. It's not like the CGI. I mean, the CGI is not good, but, like, that's not the issue. The issue is that nothing in those films ever renders onto character. It's always to, like, plot or spectacle or, like, some idea that George Lucas has. Like, when you listen to interviews in pre-production of the first one, George Lucas sounds like a madman. Like, he talks about Jar Jar Binks, and he's like, Jar Jar's the key. And people are like, why?
You're like, why?
Well, they go, why? And he's like, because no one's ever done a fully CGI character before.
You're
And
like,
and they're like, no,
what?
but for the
For the
story.
story.
And it's
Yeah.
never addressed. And it's because this whole thing was, like, I guess he just realized that he could do anything. So he was like, why not do anything? And the answer is because anything isn't good. That's why you need constraints when you make shit. If you did anything, it'd be total garbage. That's why people who say, like, oh, like, the 3 act structure and writing is bullshit, man. I'm gonna do my own thing. Video games are dumb. I'm gonna make a fucking avant-garde experience. Like, dude, like the reason that those constraints exist is that they breed actual creativity that is useful and consumable. The prequels fall like victim to this problem of just like George Lucas had some cool ideas.
Yeah.
And this fight is just like, instead of the culmination of 3 films of like, this building strife between these 2 characters where their ideologies are so at odds, but they love each other because they've spent so much time together. And finally it reaches breaking point and Anakin lashes out and destroys his life. Instead of that, it's a fucking lava planet where they swing on ropes and they've 2 fucking flashing
That's
blue
the thing.
sticks.
Like when you describe the prequels, but you don't talk about like how bad they are. When you describe what the prequels are, it's just like to someone who's seen the original trilogy.
It's a great
You're
premise.
just like, the prequels are a analysis of Anakin's character before he becomes Darth Vader, and it's his progress as he starts as a kid, which is a bit weird, but he starts as a kid. He sort of learns, he sort of like becomes a Jedi, but then falls in love with someone.
Mhm.
And that conflicts, even though love is portrayed as like a positive emotion, it conflicts with
the Buddhist ideology stuff.
like with the good guys being the Jedi, and he eventually succumbs to the bad side because of love. And because of that, he falls and he becomes Darth Vader, which is super interesting.
Such a
because
good
again,
premise.
to someone who's only seen the original trilogy, by the end of episode 6, where you sort of have Vader's redemption, it's just like that's the love,
'Cause it makes
that's when it's
sense.
come back and it comes full circle. But then you watch the original, then you watch the prequel.
It's fucking Gungans! Are you kidding me?
It's
Why is there a... Why? Why did you put Jar Jar in the spaceship snoring during a scene that's supposed to be touching between Anakin and Padme? Just don't put him in the room, it's a spaceship! Are you fucking kidding me? Every single thing you could have done wrong with the concept is done wrong because the concept isn't the focus. And that ultimately is like, if you want a fucking lesson from this episode and this month in general of fight scenes, the fucking lesson is that when you put conflict in your story, it has to serve the characters. It has to. Otherwise, like, what are you doing?
It has to do something, even if there's only one character you care about, make us care about that one character.
Deeply.
If both the characters you care about, make it interesting. Give us a reason to care about both the characters. Don't just kind of like bring these both these characters who, like, we generally only care about one of them, but like don't give us these 2 characters who have been set up for like 2.5 fucking films, and then just kind of like
do nothing with it.
Just like action figure them together until one of them jumps.
Literally what it is.
Like,
But why not? Why not just like do something with? So I don't want to like. I feel like all we've done is rant about this fucking thing, but it's just disappointing because when you think about the example this could have set for like, so the industry as a whole is doing better because now Netflix is becoming like more prominent and that's like funding actually good stuff. But if you think about like when you're making stuff yourself, when you put fight scenes in a thing, like they have to really be earned. So we talk sometimes about like earned violence and stuff like that, which like Daredevil earns its violence because it's like the characters go through emotional violence, which is offset by the physical violence. And like, the violence in Atomic Blonde is earned because you wait the whole film for that. And then when it does happen, it's crazy good. And, the Pirates of the Caribbean, it's just like a dangerous world. And then Logan is like, the violence is the poison of that world because it's a deconstruction of the superhero genre.
Yeah, the violence is there, but it's like you don't actually want it to be there by the end of the film.
You go, this is awful. Yeah,
just like, no, I don't like this. Just let the kids be kids.
Yeah, it's almost like they're saying something about the genre. Like, and that's great. But this fight scene doesn't do anything, and I think that's its biggest, like, even if it was bad, but it had tried to do something instead of just hit its required beats.
Yeah,
I would have been way more into it. But because it does nothing for the characters or the story or anything, except do the lights, hit the checklist or whatever it is, I just think, like, if you're talking about what makes fight scenes work, which is what this month has been, like, just remember that it has to, like, have a really concrete reason. And if it doesn't, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like, violence is, like, everyone's done it. And unless you're going to do something new and interesting with it that serves your characters, what's the fucking point? This would have been a much better scene if, like, Anakin had, or Obi-Wan had like dunked out Anakin like instantly, and then it was the fallout of like having like tried to kill Anakin, and Padme is just whatever the thing is.
Yeah, like imagine if like the scene had started, he had like Anakin had choked Padme, and then Obi-Wan just comes in and goes, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And just murks him.
right.
And, like that's the scene. Like
He
just
dunks him, yeah.
murks him, and like, and it becomes a thing where it's just like it could have become a thing where like Obi-Wan just straight up fucked up Anakin. Like
Yeah, he just-
instantaneously. It's
Yeah.
just like it was entirely just like, look, you've gone too far. I'm here to kill you. None of this like, they play the whole like I'm trying to turn you, like please come back. It's just like, what if he just comes in and goes, look,
Yeah, he has that realization. He goes,
you've killed kids.
yeah, much.
That's not okay. I'm not here to save you. I'm here to kill you. And like then you can go like, it pains me, but me as a Jedi, this is my duty.
Hey,
Because you have fucked up. You've
Hey.
killed. You've broken every rule in the book.
hey Ben.
As a Jedi and as your master, I am here to kill you.
Hey Ben. I wonder where we've seen that recently in a Star Wars film that people hated for some reason.
wait.
The thing you literally described is what Luke does to Ben Kenobi.
It's
Or
almost-
to Ben to Ben Solo.
It's almost like
It's like almost like that's a good plot point if you're a Jedi, George Lucas, you dipshit. Are you? Fuck. God, shit. I just can't. We have to end the episode because all like we did the nice stuff and now I'm just getting mad again. Like just make better stuff than this. Like if you're out there making stuff and most people that listen to the show listen to it because they make shit. Just make stuff that's better. Like because if you can, why wouldn't you? Don't be like, oh well, it's a this kind of a genre, so there needs to be a fight scene here, so
We
we're
need a
gonna have a
lightsaber
sword
fight.
fight. No, don't. If a lightsaber fight isn't interesting, don't do a lightsaber fight. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like do a fucking like a 1 versus 100 thing that the Last Jedi did, where it's like now there's 2 people that were previously enemies who are gonna kill a bunch of people together, or do like a
Do a 1 versus 88 like Kill Bill.
like anything that if it serves the story, do a Luke, Empire Strikes Back where he loses. Like do anything that advances the story or the plot or the characters or is meaningful to the context it exists in, and then put it somewhere that makes sense for the characters, that is actually going to serve as an arena for how the themes need to develop.
Man, imagine if like Obi-Wan and Yoda were talking and Yoda's just like, you know what you have to do. And Obi-Wan is like,
Oh my god.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just goes to Mustafa.
And then he exiles himself. Yeah. Oh my god. Anyway, that'd be really good. Anyway, that's the time of the week, Ben. Have you got any recommendations? What have you got for
Jesus
us?
Christ.
have you been
Slay the Spire. It's a very good card game.
Yeah?
Play it. It's like a
Do it.
roguelike card game. It's
Do you need friends to
fun.
play it with?
No, it's single player.
Dope.
So you
That
can be a complete loner.
that
and play
appeals
it.
to
It's
me in
great.
a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
It's really good.
I might play that this week. I've been playing nothing but Subnautica. It's out and it's
I'm holding off because I'm gonna get my Rift. I'm gonna play it in VR. I haven't played that game in months.
I'm gonna probably get drunk tonight and play it on my new monitor and just
Oh, dude,
die a
yeah.
happy death.
I mean,
Um,
I'm excited.
it's boy.
It's been years.
Because I haven't played it. I didn't play it since we last recorded an episode for
Yeah.
that, which was like a year ago. And
We
coming
played
back to it,
ages ago.
coming
and
back to it, I was like, man,
Yeah.
this game is so fucking good.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend that. I've also been watching Fargo. I just finished season 1.
Oh boy.
Extremely good. And then my music recommendation for this week, just because I think that more people need to fucking listen to Camp Cope. Camp Cope have a new song out, which is How to Make Friends or How to Socialize and Make Friends. And it's just really good. And their album's coming out this year.
I've been listening to Jamiroquai.
Yeah, you've been on a trip for that lately, huh?
I don't know why.
I'm
just really
Jamiroquai's
down with
great.
Jamiroquai.
Yeah.
He released an album this year.
It's
and
everything he does is
very-
good.
It's very I don't know. It's just good.
I've never listened to any of the stuff.
There was a
that's in this.
song on Just Dance, and like
And it
I saw
got
it,
you
and I
in.
was like, we should do Jamiroquai as a joke, and then
And
the
then
song was really good,
and
and then
then
the
you-
album's very good.
and now it's too late for you.
and now I legitimately am a fan of
Jeez.
Jamiroquai.
Oh god. Gee, I don't even know what to do with that information.
Facebook.
Yeah. DCM Works
Discontinued.
Social. Yeah.
YouTube.
YouTube.com/DCMworks. If you listen on the audio, we're not. YouTube is complicated at the moment. we don't make any money from it, and we probably will, even if we do get to monetization, we probably won't ever monetize it again. So if you do want to support us, the best way to do that is either to leave a review or just to support us on Patreon.
Chuck a review there.
Yeah.
That'd be useful.
If you listen to this and you enjoy it, just give it a quick 5-star and say something about it. Clicking on the 5-star thing doesn't actually change the rating. You actually have to write something. But
That's on foot. Just write something. I was going to say, I couldn't think of anything.
and it's anything. If just like a few words, if you want.
Dancing unicorns.
Or
It's gonna
like-
be our little code word for this
God.
podcast was very good.
People are going to be very confused. Alternatively, like if you don't want to do a review, because I get that can be kind of weird, just tell someone you know that makes stuff that is like into writing or storytelling or games or music, whatever it is. Just let them know, because that's the best way to spread the word about the show. But if you do want to support us and become a Patreon subscriber, if you our bottom tier is $3. So for $3 a month, you get access to a Patreon only podcast where you can get like the Interface series, which we're still working on, which is like this spooky audiobook.
Spooky. We're going to do some... We're doing some other cool stuff once
Yeah,
it's done as well.
We've got some crazy other cool stuff
There's
after
a queue
that.
happening. We've got some stuff lining up.
And in between then and now, starting mid-March, we are going to be watching every single Marvel film in order in the lead up to Infinity War, and then doing a podcast at the end of every weekend about
Yeah,
it.
look forward to that.
And we might actually die, because those films are so quip heavy, and quips, they injure me.
I looked through the list, and the
17.
midsection is rough.
The saving
There
grace of the
is
midsection
just-
is Guardians.
Yeah, there's a whole section of films that we did not like.
Or some of them
And-
that I don't even remember.
I mean, the first like 3 films are like okay. Apparently, The Incredible Hulk is technically one of these films.
Yeah, all I'm
looking
saying...
forward to that non-canon experience.
Well, that'll be nice, because I don't remember it. It'll be like a new film.
Yeah, neither.
I guess all I'm saying is, if you desperately want to hear us lose our minds for like a few months on end, become a Patreon subscriber. The other thing that you'll see in the next 2 weeks, if I can get my shit together, is Aaron and I have done a part 2 on Blade Runner 2049, where we
Part
looked
two.
at the genre, because people have asked us to do part 2s of episodes, because that's something we started doing. So we're going to try to do more of that. Where a few weeks on, with some more research, and we've done more with the thing, then we talk about it again.
I've had a quick thunk about it.
Yeah, so that should go up soon if I ever stop playing Subnautica. And yeah, that's the best way to support us, aside from telling a friend. So you can go do that at patreon.com/DCMworks. And I want to talk really quickly about t-shirts, copyright, and the internet. So we use Redbubble, and people have been like, you shouldn't use Redbubble, the cut for the artist is less, or whatever. And I'm like, yeah,
Hello,
sure.
we're the artist.
So I thought about moving to like something different, just because it would get us like a better...
T something.
Yeah,
Spring.
So I thought about doing that, and then what I realized is the reason that Redbubble take less of a cut is they employ more people to stop people from stealing stuff. So like posting other people's art and selling it.
Yeah.
So don't ever buy stuff from Teespring or TeePublic, because they just will
They just let whatever on.
Yep.
That's rough.
And they take days and days and days to do it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to the Dollops podcast, Dollops Twitter feed, or go to Dave Fosdyke.
You're just like siphoning some drama right now.
Well, I just
Some
think
podcast.
Well, I
drama.
just wanted to talk briefly about like the fact that like the stuff that we sell is for people that like enjoy our show, and we're not big enough that people are stealing it. But
That's
it's nice to know that being on a platform that like actually engages with the people that use it to then do something about it. So I don't know, I just wanted to shout out to Redbubble for like, yeah, doing God's work. So you can buy a pillow. You can buy this shirt that I'm wearing with this kind of trendy logo that people won't know you're nerdy. Like it's like a stealthy kind of...
Yeah, no, I wear it occasionally, and it's
Yeah,
like it's,
and you get away with
this
it
is very subtle
because
yeah.
it looks like a kind of you know,
It
people
looks
don't
like
know.
a startup. It doesn't look like a...
Yeah, it looks like a
garbage
tech startup.
internet
Exactly.
free podcast.
We've tricked them.
We got him.
You can also get mugs and a few other things. I got some mugs in the mail, so I'm going to see if they're any good. I don't know if I should recommend them yet because I haven't had them, but they look pretty good. But yeah, that's all the plugs. That was a long thing of plugs.
Twitter.
At DCM
We didn't
underscore
actually do
works.
Twitter.
We didn't
All
do
right, we're
Twitter.
done.
That's it.
That's all the plugs.
I'm at DCM Hip Pie.
I'm at Little Citrus.
We'll see you guys next week for a new month and a new theme.
What is the theme?
You'll find out next
Okay.
week.